Hi, I'm Gabriella and this is Merryweather Knitting. I'm very excited to chat with you today from my home in Germany about all that I've been knitting and making this week. I hope that you'll join me, maybe with something to knit for yourself. Get cozy and let's chat a bit. So since last week, I have cast something off and I'm very excited to show you my mittens. The mittens I showed you last week are all done. Finished the first. Finished the second. They were so fun and quick to knit up, and they just flew off the needles. Honestly, like just holding these two yarns double. I knit these out of a black worsted weight yarn and a lace mohair silk yarn, the Filcolana one in the shade silver. The other one was just black. I don't know what it was. It probably was Cascade 220 from some sweater project in the past, but they just finished so nicely. I'm really pleased with the result. I love the way that they just created this marled kind of shade, you know, holding these two contrasting yarns together. It's really fun to knit with yarn held double because it just gives a completely different effect to the way to the color and to the fabric. So I'm really pleased with these. And my husband, who said he didn't want mittens, who I knitted these for him anyway, also is super excited about them. And he likes how soft they are, how warm they are. And a few days ago, it was pretty cold. It even snowed here in Germany, which was amazing. Rarely happens. Last year, I don't think it snowed even once. But he was out there in the cold without mittens, and he was like, I'm ready for those mittens. He gave in and said, you know, it's in the end, mittens are nice. He said he wanted gloves, and I didn't feel like knitting gloves. I just wanted to finish these up quickly. But he's happy about them. I'm happy about them. And I was so excited about them that I immediately cast on another pair because I had bought this extra little ball of Filcolana Tilia mohair silk to use with the other worsted weight yarn I have in my stash, which is this green forest green shade. It's really nice. Okay, it's all fluffy. There's lots of cat hair and dust on it. It was also in my stash for ages, but it's this kind of foresty green shade, pretty much like a true foresty green, not really, like forest green is the perfect term for this. It's dark, it's cool, it's got little bits of black in it. It's a really nice shade. And the mohair silk that I got actually pretty much matches it perfectly. I'll show you. Here I have my little ball band is still on it, holding my little stitch holder. It's basically the exact shade almost. It's just a very true forest green. And I hope you can see it well. I don't know if it's focusing, but it matches almost perfectly. And I think it's nice. I like it. I was going to actually knit these for myself because, I don't know, I just loved the way that these mittens felt, but I'm not so sure if I'm going to keep these or not. I think I might actually gift them, surprisingly. Maybe gift them to my grandmother. There's a cat hair, I'm so sorry. But it also could be mohair. You don't know. Who knows? Oh no, my sleeve is falling. But it's so beautiful. It's super beautiful. I love the fluff, the softness, the cuddliness. That's the same as the other mitten. But what I don't like, it's not that I don't like it. What just isn't as fun is that there's not this cool discovery of a new shade, which I had with these, because it was black and silver, and I loved the color of this. The result of that, I just loved it. And this is you get what we kind of signed up for with the same color. I don't know, I'm really into this mixing of two different colors now, but I'm excited to finish them. And I think my grandmother would like these a lot. She wears a lot of green as well, and maybe these would be for her. I knit these large ones I knit from just a free Ravelry pattern. Sorry, I got some mohair. But the Ravelry pattern was, I don't even know who it's by. You can look on my Ravelry and find it. But I knit the size large. I also didn't do it exactly as the pattern said. I kind of, I knit the body before the thumb. Not huge differences, but I did use most of the stitch counts that were suggested there. I also increased a little bit differently than they suggested, but basically it was the same as the pattern. And this large is huge on me, absolutely giant. It is definitely not for me, made for me. I mean, it's cute. I've got room in there to swim. I could like layer it over a different mitten, which would work, but it's definitely too big for me. So I decided to knit the small, and it's so much smaller, which I like. It's perfect. It fits me well. It's nice. The rib is nice and tight when I put these on it's not really tight, but it's snug. It's as a rib should be. Not loose. I mean, it's definitely not tight, but it's snug, whereas these kind of aren't really, these kind of hang, I don't know, just definitely too big. But I like the small. I think my grandmother, she's smaller than me, like she's shorter than me and she's petite, so I'm sure that these would fit her as well. And wouldn't be like uncomfortably small, or like wouldn't keep her warm, because I'm kind of feeling like I thought I might knit the cuff a little longer. But I'm not going to knit the cuff any longer, I think, because, I don't know, I think this is just a good length. I'm not so sure. But I like these mittens. I'm loving knitting these mittens, these fluffy, cozy mittens. And honestly, if you have any worsted yarn in your stash, which you just don't know what to do with, this is such a fun project. I really, really have enjoyed it. And I think, I'm on my second pair, so maybe I'll get tired of it soon, but as of now, I think this is the perfect project for little extra skeins of worsted yarn. And I mean, it is a little bit luxurious to grab, some mohair silk and add it in, but I don't know, I just think the result is so beautiful and it's so cozy and it's just so lovely. So I'm very, very happy with these results, and so happy that I decided to cast on another pair. So that's my first little work in progress, and my finished object of the week. It's amazing. I'm so happy I've been able to show you finished objects 2 weeks in a row, because I feel like for me, I don't finish something every week. Most of the time I'm working on projects for a couple of weeks. I'm not really the fastest knitter, to be honest. I'm not a slow knitter, but I just take my time, and like I think I've told you before, but I knit English style, and I know that can be a little bit slower than continental, but I like it. I don't know, I don't really want to like change it. I don't really think for me, it's not worth the effort of trying to really, really shift my knitting style so much that I just knit completely differently. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. I admire the people who just grew up like knitting continental, or who learned to knit continental, or who teach themselves, because I do think it is a little bit more, I think it's a little bit more, if that's your default way of knitting, it's faster and maybe more efficient. But I only knit that way when I do color work. Otherwise, I always knit English style. But it's okay. It's not about speed. It's about the process. So since we also last spoke, I had talked about the fact that I was going to cast on the Spearheads Pullover by Jared Flood. And I've done it this week. I cast it on and I've started on the sleeve. I'm pretty far along on the sleeve. This yarn is so much fun to knit. It knits up so quickly. It is like, it's really, the ball is kind of dwindling here, but it's, I guess, I don't know, a bulky weight, Aran weight yarn. It's pretty big, pretty thick, and it just goes so quickly, honestly. It's so much fun, because as I had dreamt it's just as rustic as I had hoped and as I had wished and as I had read about on Ravelry. People had said on there that they'd found like pieces of hay in the yarn. And reading that, I got so excited about that. I wanted that to be true, but I didn't expect that. I thought that can't be. I had never knit with rustic yarn like this before, so I didn't really believe that would be the case, but indeed, it is the case. There is hay in this yarn, and it is the most glorious thing in the world to encounter. I actually just, as I was bringing this over here, I saw a little piece in the sleeve, there it is. Oh, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little piece of hay knit in. Some Icelandic grass or hay. I can't even believe it. I just am in love. It's so much fun. I don't know what about it is just so lovely to me, but I just love that connection. I love to feel like as I'm knitting this yarn, I'm just connected to where it comes from. It's a real sheep who lived a real life, or who's living a real life, I don't know, out there somewhere far away. And I just get to, knit from their beautiful, beautiful wool. And I'm just, I don't know, just so much fun. It makes me so happy to knit. I think it's one of my favorite yarns, maybe one of the most lovely yarns I've used ever in my whole entire life and knitting career, just because of that feeling it gives me as I knit it. I just feel so connected. I feel so, I just feel so connected to the process and to the earth, if that makes sense. It really is a lovely, lovely thing. So I'm 100% a Lopi fan as of now. It is also not as scratchy. I mean, it is definitely scratchy-ish. It's definitely rough. It's rustic, it's not processed overly, and it's bulky. So, it's not necessarily the softest yarn, but I'm not sensitive to that. And my husband isn't either, who I'm making this sweater for. So it doesn't bother me at all. I like it. It's totally fine. I actually really like the fact that it is a little bit rough, to be honest. It's also because it's kind of going to be an outerwear piece. I don't think this is really a piece that he's going to wear next to his skin anyway. It's going to be really something to wear outdoors when it's cold, as a kind of an outerwear sweater. But I'm just in love with it. The pattern is also very nice. I mean, I just knit the sleeve, so, it's not like I have, delved into the nitty-gritty of the pattern yet, but it is just very nice, very straightforward, very simple. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. It's as I said, it's just the sleeve, so I can't really judge it yet, but it's nice. And Jared Flood pretty much always has very, very thorough, very nice, intuitive patterns, I would say. As I said, even though I wouldn't necessarily ever choose this pattern if I were just searching on my own, I like it a lot, and I'm definitely, just because of the style, I don't know, it's just not necessarily my usual cup of tea, but because of this yarn, it is the most wonderful thing to knit for me right now. I'm absolutely in love with it. I did not do the tubular cast on. I have done the tubular cast on a couple of times, but I just think it's a little bit finicky, and I really just wanted to start knitting on this. And I also wanted to use the sleeve as my gauge swatch, because I just didn't really feel like knitting a swatch. I know it's not good. I feel like there are two camps of people who always swatch and people who never swatch. And I do swatch sometimes, but people who rarely swatch, let's say. I do sometimes, knit a little gauge swatch, especially if I'm working on a project which requires, complicated techniques, or where I might have to really rip back, or maybe that where I'm using really, really luxurious yarn. It's a little bit of a double standard, but I do try to knit a gauge swatch. I would say about half the time I do, but with this, I just didn't really feel like it. I just wanted to start. So I decided I'm just going to do a long tail cast on was wondering what's it called, but it's long tail cast on. I decided just to do really quickly and then start knitting and see how my gauge was. And my gauge was very good. It was perfect, pretty much, you know. And I don't know, I think it looks fine. I don't really think it looks, I mean, it's neat. I'm happy with it, the long tail cast on, I am. And it's for his sleeves, and it's like, this yarn is so rugged anyway. This isn't a piece which is like in need of a pristine edge, I would say. I might do the body. When I do the body, I might do that. I might do a tubular cast on for the bottom hem. But for the sleeves, I'm very, very happy and satisfied with this. I am. I don't know. How do you feel about casting on? Do you have a favorite cast on that you always use? What is it? And I'm excited to continue on, finish this sleeve and start on the next sleeve. And then at the body, it's just so much fun. It's really motivating. And this yarn is so much fun. I think I'm going to have to knit myself something out of Lopi yarn soon, because I love it so much. So that's my next work in progress. And I have one more thing to show you, which, I mean, I don't really have much progress on it, but I had this sweater, which my first sweater I ever started to knit. I started about, 5 or 6 years ago now. The first project I ever did, like a sweater project ever. And I had asked for help and advice on what to do with this little mistake up here, this little garter, I don't know, purled little ridge, which I had accidentally made. And I got amazing feedback, amazing responses, amazing ideas. And I'm really excited to try them out. Two stood out to me. One of them, someone said that I could maybe do back stitch over it, which I had never done, never even really heard of, but I have now researched a bit and seen that people even do color work back stitch, and it's a technique which I've never tried, and I think I'd like to try. So I may try that first and see how that looks. And I also got the suggestion of knitting a pocket, making a little pocket out of this. And I really like the idea of a pocket. I think that's so cute to think about wearing this and putting a little pocket. I don't know. I think it's kind of cute, kind of funny. I don't know. I like that idea. I think it's kind of sweet. So I might try that as well. We'll see how much yarn I have left after I finish the sleeves. I don't have that much yarn. I have one more little ball. I had to pull back, so it's a little bit curly. But I have one more little ball out of this. But I don't know how much I'm gonna get, if I'm really gonna get sleeves. I'm gonna try to just I want 3/4 length sleeves, but if they're shorter, that's also okay. But I don't know how much yarn that's gonna leave me, and if I have enough for a pocket, I'll knit one. I think I should. I also have been knitting on the sleeve. That's where I had to pull back. That's why it is all curly. But I had knit on the sleeve, and then I realized this is it was way too big, way too many stitches. So I ripped back, I picked up stitches again. I picked up not every single stitch, and then I started doing some decreases every couple of rounds until it got to the size that I want it to be. And it's so nice to be able to try it on as you go. It's just so nice to be able to try it on as you go, because then I could just try it on and feel how the sleeve felt, and I just improvised, because I don't have the pattern anymore for the sweater. I don't know how many stitches I was supposed to pick up, but I'm just kind of winging it, and it seems to be working. The end product is gonna look a little silly anyway, but the point is, it's my first sweater, the first sweater I ever knit, and I want to have it finished at some point, just so I can wear it, wear it when I go out, or just into the forest, or on walks. Nothing, it's not supposed to be my wedding pullover. It's just, a fun little sweater to wear out and about. So those are my works in progress. The Spearheads Pullover, I am planning on knitting for the knit along that Inga from Knitting Traditions is hosting. It's a rustic knit along, and I haven't taken part in a knit along in a very long time. So I'm very excited about that, because it should be a lot of fun. And Inga knits the most beautiful pieces out of Rustic yarn, and it's very, very inspiring. So I'm really excited to partake in that. And this last week it was the first Advent. Sunday we celebrated the first Advent. So if you celebrate Advent, I hope that you had a very special, happy day and that you're enjoying the first days of December. We hosted my parents-in-law for lunch and just had a really lovely time celebrating, lighting the first Advent candle, and just entering this new season together. I think it's so special to have family nearby. I think this year it's very important for me to try to make it as special and as it can be, by having different rituals and just taking the time to be mindful about, just observing like the small things, lighting the candles, lighting the incense, kind of just chatting about the season and what it means. And, for us, we have a little time in the mornings where we chat about the hope and love and joy and all those things that this season brings. So it's really been a very, very special week so far. As a child, my family didn't really do Advent calendars. It wasn't something that we did, not even really chocolate ones. I don't know. We didn't do that. I think one year we had one, but very rarely did we have Advent calendars when I was a child. And here in my husband's family, it was always a big part of their celebration, their Christmas time celebration, their winter celebration, Advent celebration. It was always, Advent calendars were a big part of that. Advent calendars with just pictures, Advent calendars with chocolate, Advent calendars with gifts for 24 days, which, blows my mind. It's pretty amazing to get a gift every day, 24 days. For me, that was just not a part of my upbringing at all. So I was amazed when he first told me that. I remember when we were first married, I think the first year he made me an Advent calendar with 24 little presents leading up to Christmas, which was for me like so much fun and so special. It felt like Christmas every day. It was just so much fun. And this year we haven't done anything extravagant. I also think that we've kind of found a middle ground, because even though I do love Advent calendars and I love little gifts and I love little treats and it's really fun, it builds up the anticipation, I do also think there is something to say about also, not making it only about that as well, if that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but, I think there's a balance that needs to be struck between the gifts and just the time and the ritual and the presence and those qualities that we're remembering and hoping for in this season. Just being together, spending time together, creating memories, all those kinds of things are also important. So we're kind of finding a balance. And now that we have our own child, I mean, she's little, but we are kind of also thinking about that, what do we want to give her? Because although I didn't have an Advent calendar with presents every day, every Christmas season, I feel like my Christmas season memories are so precious and so special and so full of love and just really meaningful to me. And I just think that there's a balance to be struck. So we are kind of figuring that out. But this year we have a couple of Advent calendars, a couple of little ones. One of them is a tea Advent calendar, which I've been enjoying so much. And this is something which every morning I enjoy getting up and finding out what kind of tea I get in the morning. This morning it's peppermint tea. Yesterday it was chai. It's just so much fun to pick it out and then have it with my breakfast. So I have been enjoying that so much. And then we also got as a gift an Advent calendar with different spices and herbs, which I think is the most brilliant idea ever. And I've so enjoyed finding out what we have for that day and then experimenting a little bit with the new herbs and spices, because there are a lot of mixes that are sold, which I never try, but always sound good to me, but I just never buy them because I'm like, oh, maybe we're not gonna like it, or I just stick with the classic herbs and spices. But this Advent calendar is exposing us to all kinds of amazing blends. Yesterday we got one that was some kind of mix that's supposed to be for some kind of an herb Quark. Kräuterquark is what it's called in German, but it's like, quark is like a little bit like sour cream without the sour part, but it's not cream, it's like thick cream. I don't know how to explain it. That does not sound good at all. But it was this little, herb mix that you add then. I guess you could kind of equate it to kind of like sour cream. I don't really know what the equivalent would be, but we didn't have any quark or sour cream or anything like that at home. So what we did in the evening, I made a soup for dinner, like a vegetable soup. We had some bread, we put some butter on the bread, and then we just sprinkled this spice or this herb mix on there, and it was so delicious. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. So now we know, that's something that I'm probably gonna buy. So this marketing tactic of their advent calendar works well, but I really, really enjoyed that as well. And then we also have 2 little ones with little pictures, and it's so much fun to open up the picture every day. That really is fun, and it's really builds up this anticipation, and it's just such a festive thing to do. And my mother-in-law brought over 4 little gifts for my daughter, so that every Sunday of Advent she has a little present to open in anticipation of Christmas. She's too young to really understand it, but it's fun for me and it's fun for everyone. I think it's just about the whole festivity side of things. This week I'm hoping to bake some cookies and just kind of prepare in that way. I have to still think about what we're going to cook and have for our Christmas dinner. What do you like to do in the Advent time if you celebrate? What are some of your personal or familial or childhood highlights and memories, or things that you like to do to kind of come into the Christmas spirit, the Christmas season spirit? I'd really like to know that. So I'd love to hear if you want to share. But I guess I will close this video off here because I feel like I've talked your ear off. But it's been such a pleasure to spend this time with you. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a wonderful week. I'd love if you left me a note and told me a little bit about what you're making and you're doing this week. And I look forward to seeing you again next time for more knitting chat. I love to look on Instagram and see what you're making. A lot of people who I've now found on there just make the coolest, most beautiful things with colors and patterns that are totally new to me, and it's just been so inspiring and so much fun to see what other people are making. So please feel free to chat with me on there. I'd love to see you, and I wish you a wonderful week. Take care.